It's all about the details. When I think about architecture and how to create an architecture that's authentic and genuine for its locale, I really look to the materials and how they're put together. I think about corner boards and window details and head details and types of windows and patterns of glass and proportion. These are the kit of parts that I call available to a good architect to relate to and create a place that has its own authenticity and genuineness. When you look back at historical architecture, primarily the front facade, many times in the past, people would spend all their money on the details of the front of their houses and let the other sides and the back become much more simple. It was really a way of defining wealth and value and position in society. And that's now carried over many years forward. Even when you think about developer spec houses in suburbia, you find the front facade is layered with information and detail from a covered portico or screw-in window, shutters, or things like that. And then the other three sides are just asbestos siding and small little aluminum windows. So it's all about stage set and how people perceive their built environment very two-dimensionally in terms of a front facade. And in my architecture, I always say there are no backs. All my houses have four fronts. Many of the traditional elements that we look back on were really originating from necessity. For example, shutters were meant to protect the windows from storms. And if you fold the shutters open, they actually look backwards today, but when they're closed, then they would shed the water. So a lot of people, even in the historical districts, don't quite understand that. But for shutters to be true, they actually look like they're installed backwards, as an example. So when you look at other developers or people that are trying to emulate a style of architecture, perhaps from the past, the builder will just screw the shutters onto a facade. They may use a textured siding that wouldn't have existed in the past. They may not scale the corner boards properly and just put up a simple 4-inch corner board on what's supposed to be an implied Greek Revival house, as an example. They'll use asphalt shingles with tabs on them, trying to pretend that it's a wood roof. And this collection of elements that are poorly put together basically lose the authenticity and genuineness of a particular house or a facade. It really loses the integrity of what was originally a good style of architecture and really becomes a non-architectural statement. There are materials that are available today that were not available in the recent past that can be used in a historical context. For example, there's cementitious siding material that, once it's painted, looks just like wood but doesn't rot. There's corner boards and materials called either Coma or AZAC that we use today in historic districts. There are composite shutters that look like wooden shutters in proportion and scale, but they don't rot. So technology has brought to the forefront materials that can be used in a genuine and a historic way, but it's very important that all the details are just right. The windows are another great example. With the urgent push for sustainability and energy efficiency of historic single-glazed windows, which fall short for New England's extreme climate, thankfully certain window companies specialize in historically accurate options with hundreds of clad and wood window casings that we can choose from, custom divided light patterns, and even the capability to create custom casings to match existing profiles. So technology is really helping us today create more authentic windows that also are energy efficient. When we look at preservation and restoration, we're not trying to create museums where houses would be reformed with the original tiny rooms and no outdoor activity. We use it as a guide. In my houses, I tend to do a modern flowing interior where there's organization of a spine going through and spaces open up off of that. There's indoor-outdoor living opportunities. There are covered porches. There are fireplaces on porches and things of that nature. So my houses tend to be historically correct in character, scale, and demeanor, but live the way people want to live today.